You ever wonder what would happen if we could just pause time and take a snapshot of the entire planet on a single day? I mean, you'd see this world of incredible complexity, right? You'd have leaders making these huge strategic moves, crises flaring up all over the place, and then just ordinary people's lives being changed forever. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to look at just one day to try and make sense of our world in motion.
And the day we're freezing in time? It's September 5th, 2025. Think about that. Just one single 24-hour spin of our planet. But, man, what a day it was.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. Think of it like we have this geopolitical telescope. We're going to start way out with the big picture, the great power game. Then we'll zoom in a bit, focusing on specific regional crises. And from there, we're going to zoom in even tighter on a single, really tragic event in Lisbon. And then we'll pull all the way back out to see how all these seemingly separate worlds are actually connected.
All right, let's get started. Let's set that global stage. On this one day, you've got this incredibly complex machine of, well, everything. Geopolitics, domestic problems, and just pure random chance, all happening at the exact same time.
So first up, let's start at the very top, with the world's most powerful leaders. Because on September 5th, these guys weren't just sitting back and reacting to things. No, they were actively making the news, creating events that sent ripples all across the globe.
Okay, so over in Beijing, you've got Chinese President Xi Jinping. He's ending a pretty assertive week by overseeing this massive military parade. It's for the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. And get this, who's standing right there beside him? Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. Yeah, so this is way more than just a parade, It's a statement, a very carefully crafted piece of political theater, showing this united front and basically saying, hey, we're the stable alternative to the West.
And speaking of Putin, he's making headlines all on his own, with a really stark warning. See, European leaders are talking about maybe putting a reassurance force in Ukraine after the conflict. Well, Putin comes out and draws a very clear red line. He flat out declares that any Western troops who set foot there will be considered legitimate targets. I mean, that's a powerful message aimed squarely at NATO.
Meanwhile, back in the US, President Trump is making waves on like a dozen different fronts. First, there's a plan to literally rename the Department of Defense the Department of War. Then he's threatening new tariffs against the EU because of a massive fine they slapped on Google. He's also sounding really pessimistic about ending the war in Ukraine. And on top of all that, he's on social media calling out major world powers. It's just this whirlwind of activity, all designed to shake up policies and relationships.
And this quote, this perfectly captures that direct, unfiltered style. On Truth Social, he just posts, "We've lost India and Russia to deepest, darkest China." I mean, the language alone is a geopolitical statement, isn't it? It's blunt, it's critical, and it is absolutely designed to grab your attention. It's broadcasting his frustration with how these global alliances are shifting.
Okay, so these are the big moves from the big players. But none of this happens in a vacuum, right? So now, let's zoom our telescope in a little closer. We're going to look at the regional flashpoints where all these high-level tensions are actually playing out on the ground.
First stop, Gaza City, where the conflict is really heating up. On this day, Israeli forces strike a high-rise building. They say it was housing Hamas infrastructure. The attack causes just widespread destruction. And at almost the same moment, a new video of a hostage surfaces online. It's just a brutal, real-time reminder of how complex and tangled this whole conflict is.
Now, let's jump over to the UK, where a political crisis is unfolding at lightning speed. It all kicks off with an ethics inquiry into the Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner. The findings come out, and boom, she immediately resigns. This forces the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, to act super fast to kind of stop the bleeding, which triggers a huge reshuffle of his entire cabinet.
And look, this isn't just some minor shuffling of the deck. We're talking about huge changes. David Lammy is the new Deputy PM, Yvette Cooper steps in as Foreign Minister, and Shabana Mahmood is the new Interior Minister. I mean, these are some of the most powerful positions in the entire government, and they all changed hands in a single day. It's a massive move to try and project some stability.
All right, so from the world of politics and conflict, we're now going to adjust our telescope to its highest, most powerful magnification. We're going to focus on a single human story, because this is where the big abstract headlines collide with personal tragedy. It's a reminder that underneath all the grand strategy, real, individual lives are hanging in the balance.
So picture this, a historic, beautiful neighborhood in Lisbon, Portugal. The unthinkable happens.
One of those charming little streetcars, a funicular, packed with locals and tourists, catastrophically derails. The human cost is just staggering. 16 people. 16 people lost their lives in that crash.
And when you look at who these victims were, you realize this wasn't just a local tragedy, it was a global one. Out of the 16 people who died, 11 of them were tourists, foreign nationals. They were from Britain, Canada, South Korea, the US, France, Switzerland, Ukraine. I mean, people from all over the planet, whose journeys just happened to end together in that one horrible instant.
And amidst all that devastation, just one survivor was pulled from the wreckage, a 3-year-old child.
Okay, let's pull that telescope all the way back out again. We've seen the grand strategy, the political chaos, and this deeply personal tragedy. So what does it all mean when you put it together? How do these completely different worlds even connect?
Well, think about it like this. On one side of the world, a president is debating what to call a government building, the Department of War. It's an abstract move, right? Pure political messaging. At the exact same time, on the other side of the world, 11 tourists, people just like you and me, on vacation, are killed in a sudden tragic accident. And that's the point. Both of these things are the reality of September 5th, 2025. You have the abstract game of power and the deeply personal, incredibly fragile reality of life happening side by side.
Which kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. On this planet that's just always in motion, you see these leaders trying so hard to shape the world, to impose their will on it. But then you also see how one single unpredictable event can just wipe away any plan. So it really makes you wonder, where does power truly lie? Is it with the leaders who write the policies, or is it in the sheer unpredictable and sometimes tragic force of life itself?